you wanted the best, you've got the best podcast. The hottest podcast in the world. The Chris Voss Show, the preeminent podcast with guests so smart you may experience serious brain bleed. The CEOs, authors, thought leaders, visionaries, and motivators. Get ready. Strap yourself in. Keep your hands, arms, and legs inside the vehicle at all times, because you're about to go on a monster education roller coaster with your brain. Now, here's your host, Chris Voss.
Hi, folks. It's Voss here from thechrisvossshow.com. Welcome to the big show. As always, my family and friends. The Chris Voss Show is family that loves you, but doesn't judge you, at least not as harshly as the rest of your family. Oh, we gotta love it. Anyway, we have got some amazing authors on the show today. We're going to be talking to them, but we need you to refer your family, friends, and relatives. Go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, linkedin.com/Chris Voss, Chris Voss1 on the TikTok, and all those crazy places on the internet.
Opinions expressed by guests on the podcast are solely their own and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the host or the Chris Voss Show. Some guests of the show may be advertising on the podcast, but it is not an endorsement or review of any kind.
Today's featured author comes to us from bookstolifemarketing.co.uk. With expert publishing to strategic marketing, they help authors reach their audience and maximize their book's success. Today we've got an amazing couple on the show. They've been married for 66 years. And they write books. Who would have thunk it? We're going to get into it with them, find out more about it, and all that good stuff. Their book is entitled Shattered Dreams, But Hope, Encouragement for Caregivers of Huntington's Disease and Other Progressive Illnesses, out January 14th, 2020. And we're going to talk to them about their thing. They have both grew up in Texas and moved to Michigan in 1965. They both have PhDs, Laquita in history and Elton in English. Elton taught at the University of Michigan Dearborn for 36 years, and Laquita taught there part-time. They have 3 adopted daughters. The younger of 2, who manifested Huntington's disease, are the subjects of the book. Laquita and Elton are committed Christians and are active in the local church, as well as writing articles for Christian publications. They now live in Jackson, Michigan, near their oldest daughter, who contributes significantly to the cares of Rachel. Welcome to the show, both of you. How are you?
Doing well, thank you.
Yes.
Awesome sauce. Give us
tomorrow.
It's a big old holiday. You gotta love it. Give us your .coms. Where can people find you on the interwebs in the sky?
higgsbooks.weebly.com.
Mm-hmm. And anything else? Any other social media sites?
Weebly. No, well, we're on, our books can be on Amazon, and I'm on Facebook.
Okay. So give us a 30,000 overview of what's inside this book.
Well, it's our life with these 2 adopted daughters with Huntington's disease, and both of them have early onset, which means that that one of the first, according to the experts, one of the first major symptoms is behavior, at least for a lot of them. And it was with both of our daughters. The extreme behavior was difficult. It was devastating to family life. But we slowly found ways to deal with it. I made so many mistakes at first. But we did manage to learn finally. And that's what we're trying to do in the book. We want to help other caregivers to not go through all the mistakes we did, but we should give some strategies, some ideas about things that do help.
And Huntington disease. Huntington disease. Tell us what that is. What are some of the things that happen with that?
Well, it's a degenerative disease, progressive, neurological. It affects the brain. Brain cells are dying slowly, and the patients who have it slowly lose their abilities physically, mentally, and emotionally. And it's not a very nice disease. It takes away who they are and what they are very slowly. But it's fatal, no cure.
Oh, wow.
But good progress is being made in research, and that's wonderful right now. In fact, there was a breakthrough just a couple of months ago that a test showed that there was some slowing of the progression of the disease, which would be wonderful for people. And so there's real hope in that and research right now.
Well, that's good.
We need continued governmental support for the research, so that we can come up with a solution.
Yes, all that research takes years for it to finally come to the market, and so this recent development, they went to the FDA and tried to get a fast track for more trials for it, and the FDA refused that.
Oh, wow.
So,
They did,
So
huh?
write your congressman.
Yeah.
Right, your congressman.
Right.
Yeah, and so walk us through the journey of how you discover this. What's the story where you come in contact with this disease? You're trying to raise a family and going through this experience.
Well, first of all, we're blessed in not being blood related to the two daughters who have had Huntington's, because it really messes up families as a genetically transmitted disease. And you're dealing with aunts and uncles and all sorts of family members who may have it simultaneously. At least we were able to deal with one at a time.
Yes, it usually comes in the prime of working years of adults. But in our case, there were, the gene that causes it, and that's one of the hopeful things about Huntington's, is that they do know what causes it. A certain gene, it was discovered in 1993, but still no cure for it. But anyway, there are certain repeats of a configuration in that gene, the CAG reading there. And we all have that gene in us. It's an important gene, apparently. It seems to be important in the development of our brain and nerve cells before birth. But this repeat, if it's expanded, and that's the change that you don't want. But if it's over a certain number, then you will get Huntington's disease. If it's over 40 repeats, you definitely will get it. And our daughter, the first one, was diagnosed before there was a test, so we don't know how many repeats she had, but our second one had 9 repeats, which meant that she got it earlier and it moves faster, and the life expectancy is not so long with the earlier onset of the disease. So our last daughter is 31 now, and she is in the last stage of her disease.
And that's unfortunate.
Might say Huntington's genetically could be spoken of as the occurrence of too much of a good thing.
Oh, wow.
Too many repeats in the gene's protein.
Yeah, but the gene then finally produces a protein which does the work, and that is what causes certain brain cells to deteriorate and then die. And so that's what's happening. In our daughters, it affected the thinking first, which often happens. They lose the ability to reason. So you can't really tell them about consequences. They don't understand. They don't see it. They are lacking in self-awareness. So they can't evaluate their own emotions or their behavior. So it's very difficult to deal with them in that way, the normal way you would deal with a person. Talk about consequences and results, and it doesn't mean anything to them. So the behavior gets really wild. Both of our daughters engaged in risky, promiscuous sexual behavior despite our best efforts to stop it. They were very clever at sneaking out. They were in and out of psychiatric wards repeatedly in hospitals. So it's pretty trying.
Yeah, it
You
sounds like
don't
it.
know, of course, at the beginning you don't know because even though they've identified the gene and have a test, it's not in the protocol to administer that test to anyone under 18. So you just have to live with the uncertainty if you're in a family where Huntington's has occurred. And in the beginning with adopting Rachel, pardon me, we had to make the decision on just what we could learn in books of reference about the disease. And we even though we knew she was at risk, we made the decision because we felt it was the Lord's calling to take the risk. And at the beginning, it was 1 in 25, right, Laquita?
Yes.
Oh, so you
But,
knew when they. Sorry to interrupt you, but you knew when you adopted them that they had this thing?
We knew it was in their background and that...
Yes, they were. Cynthia was labeled a handicapped child because of the risk of Huntington's disease.
Oh, wow.
And that's when we said, well, we'd prayed about this. I guess we better keep on praying. And we did. And that was when we became convinced we should adopt her. And then maybe we should explain, Rachel then was her daughter. Cynthia became pregnant, all this hypersexuality, they call it.
Really?
And so we asked her we tried to urge her to adopt the baby out to some parents who wanted a new baby, and but she adamantly refused. And so we thought about it, prayed about it, and we thought, ask her if we could adopt the baby. And she said, yes, of course. And she knew she would be able to see the baby all the time.
Yeah.
And so Rachel is her daughter, but we adopted Rachel from birth.
Uh-huh. And does Rachel have the Huntington disease? Is that how that works?
The disease.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
In fact,
So those
she's
are
in
the
the
two.
final stages of
Yes. Rachel was 15 when Cynthia died. Cynthia died at age 42 after 17 years after diagnosis.
Wow.
And then a year later, we began to see jerkings of the leg and thought, oh dear.
in Rachel.
In Rachel, and knew what it looked like that time. First time we didn't know. We had never seen anybody with Huntington's, but we kept watching and became convinced she had it. But we had to go through a long process to get her tested because, as Elton said, the protocol is not to test until they're consenting adults, and she was underage.
Huh.
But right before her 18th birthday, they diagnosed it. The test came back positive, and so there we are. So that was 13 years ago, almost 14, and but she's at the end stage.
She's in hospice care in the adult foster care home that she lives in.
Yes, the behavior in both cases, both Cynthia and Rachel, became so extreme that we just became desperate for help. And that was a long process to get help because Huntington's falls between either medical or health or mental problems. And so agencies say, oh, no, that's not our department. And so Huntington's is hard to get help with, but we finally did, and that improved our relationship a great deal. It was a relief to have them in foster care.
So what do you guys hope people
see them a lot, though?
So what do you guys hope people come away with in the book that you've written about this experience?
Well, just some good strategies for dealing mainly with behavior. That was such a problem with our daughters. And I think that we did come up with some good things. We wanted to also mention to stress that we relied on our faith a great deal. We learned to rely on it more and more, and learned to just in the midst of a crisis situation to stop and pray, and the good Lord would give us ideas of how to handle this new problem and whatever, and there are just a lot of things like that I think can be helpful. Underneath it all, though, I think a caregiver needs to evaluate why they're doing it, and to think about, am I feeling sorry for myself? Am I resentful of this situation? And a lot of people feel stuck in caregiving because they're there. They have to do it.
Particularly when it takes place in a family. You know, your mother or your sister or whoever that you feel responsible for suddenly manifests this disease, and you're faced with a decision. Do I take up the mantle of responsibility, or do I find a way out?
So I found that I realized at one point that I was having a pity party and feeling sorry for myself all the time. And so I had to evaluate, why is this a good thing I'm doing? Is there purpose in it? Well, yes. And I'm doing it because I love my daughter, even though she's not being very lovable at all. But you have to evaluate, why am I doing it, and find purpose, but also examine your attitude toward the one you're caring for. And I found that I was sometimes resentful. I got angry quickly. I had to stop and just think about, why am I doing this, and to begin to show more compassion, and to realize she's going through some terrible things. I need to just stop and think about her, and quit thinking about how resentful I am of the whole situation, and anger at being in this situation.
And I think with Cynthia, when her behavioral problems began, we were dealing with a confrontation of who was going to be in charge.
Yes, they like to be in charge, so you have to set some boundaries, of course.
Definitely, it sounds that way. Now, so you made the choice to adopt these folks. You did through religion. Were you helped by? It looks like this is the thing I was going to say. Huntington's disease is a rare genetic disorder affecting 3 to 7 people per 100,000 globally. So it's actually fairly prevalent around the world, and there's lots of different. It affects probably 1 in 10,000 to 20,000 people in the U.S. So there's a lot of people that end up experiencing the disease. Hereditary condition with 50% chance of passing the gene from an affected parent to their child. Wow, that's wild.
That's right.
So did you find that groups helped? I guess there's Huntington's disease groups out there.
Yeah, there is the Huntington's Disease Society of America, HDSA. They have a national organization, and they have meetings every year of people from HD families, which are very helpful to just get together with people and compare notes and be with people you don't have to explain the behavior of your loved one to.
Yes, and you can feel so isolated as a caregiver, all by yourself, and hard for people to understand what you're going through. But when you go to one of these meetings, you immediately have a connection with those people, and it's wonderful. We found a support group when we first knew that Cynthia had Huntington's, and we learned so much from those people. And one of the men brought his young wife who had Huntington's, and it was the first time we'd ever seen anybody with it. It was really important.
With all the emotions, it was so obvious.
Yeah.
Well,
the involuntary. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna ask you next
involuntary
question.
movements or something. Yeah.
Yeah. So they get a lot of shaking, kind of like
It used to be called
Parkinson's.
Huntington's chorea. Yeah, right. It used to be called Huntington's chorea
Yeah.
because the choreographed movements that they made.
Oh, okay.
Dance-like movements.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So there,
Wow.
our Rachel, who's in the last stage of the disease, has her movements are just all the time. She's
Wow.
flailing here and there, her head's flopping, and it's very sad to see.
That's unfortunate. I'm glad there are people like you that are looking out for these types of folks and helping them and making sure that they're comfortable. You know, we all have to take care of each other in this world. When were institutions supportive, psychological institutions, medical institutions, were they fairly supportive? And social services, I mean, I know they just changed with the big, beautiful bill they did in Congress in 2025. They kicked a lot of people off of Medicare and cut back a lot of medical offerings. Has any of that been affected, or what was your experience with all those groups?
Go ahead, Elton.
Well, it's very important for Huntington's patients that the families have the advantages of the patient being given Social Security disability status, because most families are not independently wealthy enough to cover the cost of care. And in the medical community, it's surprising how many doctors are unaware of the details of the disease. And so the HDSA makes available various pieces of information, booklets. There's one especially for physicians. And we gave our primary care provider, our family physician, a copy of the book. He expressed his appreciation for its availability and said that it told him things that he was unaware of.
He said it helped him pass his last recertification exam. So,
Oh, wow.
So
That's pretty wild.
So we try to, yeah, and there's a little packet we can give out to police, because repeatedly we had to call 911 when there was a big crisis situation. Rachel used to have hallucinations, and
Oh, wow.
so the psychotic symptoms were very bad, and so we'd sometimes have to call the police, and we learned to always go. Elton would go out and talk to them, say, "Be gentle. You'll do better if you do that." But it's really sad to see them sometimes have to be tied to a gurney and taken away. That happened more than once.
And in public places, it's common for Huntington's patients to be noticed by police thinking they're drunk. Here's the cover of our book, and down at the bottom there's a little card that HD patients carry with them.
Oh, do they?
I'm not drunk. I have Huntington's disease.
Yes.
Oh.
Cynthia was stopped more than once when walking down the street. Police would think she was drunk or something.
Wow.
Somebody would report her as drunk. And
Wow.
that was hard.
Horrible affliction. Yeah. What a horrible affliction. But, you know, it's good that there's people taking care of people like you guys, these folks in the thing. We wanted to, so we've got that book in the can. There was other books that you guys have written. Did we want to talk about those, plug those while we're here?
Well, to mention them anyway, Laquita has a major book by the University of Michigan Press. You want to give the title?
It's Piety in the Borough of Colchester. It's an academic book, so it's not as interesting as Elton's books, I think.
Well, I mean, all books are interesting.
I've written several. I hope so. I've written several books on religious topics. I have one on the Lord's Supper, 52 meditations on the Lord's Supper, one for each Sunday of the year. I have a book of collected essays called Harvest, Gathering the Harvest, with about 60 or 70 essays on religious topics that some people have found useful. And then I've got a book of poetry called Probing Eyes, Poems of a Lifetime. So that's my array of other books.
Well, that should be interesting. What do you in the final thing of this? I mean, what do you hope people wander away with after reading the book? Do you find that there's a lot of people looking for these sort of resources with Huntington's disease as well?
Well, a lot of people have told us that they appreciated its availability, and it was helpful in exploring resources to take care of their loved ones. What would you say, Laquita?
Yes, we've had good reception of the book. Of course, I guess people who don't like it won't tell you, but but we've had a number of people say they were helped by the book.
Oh yeah, it's an amazing story.
Dreams.
It's tough. You know, my sister has MS. She's in a care center. She's had it for all of her life since she was about 18. And so I know what this is like to go through the struggle. Dementia kind of has the same sort of issues, the lashing out, the attitudes, the behavior issues. Sometimes when you get dementia, you get confused because you don't understand what's going on anymore. Your brain is starting to deteriorate, and you know, they get angry, they lash out. Sometimes there's, you know, the wall goes down, as you talked about with Huntington's disease, where they, you know, they say just about anything and everything. There's no filter anymore. And so it's unfortunate to watch. It's hard to watch someone fade off into the sunset early and, of course, poorly. So I really commend that you guys have, you know, stood up to that challenge of adopting those young girls and then going through that experience and with love and grace.
Well, we certainly hope that people will recognize that God becomes exceedingly important when you're pressed against the wall with situations that just make you desperate. But again and again, the Lord has proved faithful in giving us the strength to just survive all of this and get to the point that we're still able, in a minimal way, to help take care of Rachel.
Yes, I had to come. I came to the point where I decided it was a privilege to be asked to do such a hard job, and that made a big difference. Just to think it was an honor and a privilege to do.
You know, it's a bit.
It's brought us together in our marriage too.
Oh, really? And we mentioned before the show, you guys had 66 years. You guys been married?
Right.
I think that's quite the feat, because sometimes issues like this with children break marriages up. You know, they get frustrated. There's a lot of emotions. There's ups and downs, highs and lows, probably, you know, sometimes maybe more than what most people experience in a marriage. I don't know. But, you know, the fact that you guys stuck together through this and you say it made your marriage stronger, that certainly is a testament to, I don't know, the quality of people you are, I would say.
I think it's the quality of who God is, who He is.
Okay. And you follow him and look for his guidance there. But yeah, so congratulations on 66 years of marriage. I can't get past 66 minutes with someone. That's it's actually that the women can't stand me for more than 6.6 minutes. So that's the 66. And who can blame them, really? So thank you very much for coming by and talking to us and making us aware of this. And hopefully other people out there can raise awareness and make other people have some blueprints on how to deal with this sort of horrible disease that comes to people. Thank you very much for coming to the show. Give us any .coms that you want to have people follow you on the interwebs.
Yeah, so once again, higgsbooks.weebly.com is our website, which shows the array of our books. And then all of them can be obtained, of course, through Amazon.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, thank you very much, both of you, for coming on the show. We really appreciate it.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Thank
Good to
you.
talk to you.
And thanks, Huntingts, for tuning in. Whitney says, what an amazing couple. Thank you, Whitney, for your comment there and all that good stuff. So maybe I think I don't mean to tell people what to do, but if you ever think about maybe writing a book about how to stay together for 66 years, that might be something we can all use, even me. See if you can figure out that formula and put it in the can and serve it up to us. We'll buy that book. Thanks so much for tuning in. Order up their book wherever fine books are sold. Shattered dreams, but hope, encouragement for caregivers of Huntington's disease and other progressive illnesses, out January 14th, 2020. Remember, folks, we all need to take care of each other. We're on a big lifeboat in the middle of the universe, and it's not very kind outside of our atmosphere, at least as far as I've checked. Well, I haven't checked, really. I just take people's word for it. Every now and then I just kind of lick my finger and go, yeah, I'm going to stick into the atmosphere program. And we got to take care of each other. Rising tide lifts all boats, and we can't think in scarcity mindset, so we all need to help each other out and lift each other. Thanks for tuning in to my audience. Go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, linkedin.com/Chris Voss, Chris Voss 1 on the TikTok and all those crazy places on the internet. Be good to each other. Stay safe. We'll see you guys next.
You've been listening to the most amazing, intelligent podcast ever made to improve your brain and your life. Warning, consuming too much of the Chris Voss Show podcast can lead to people thinking you're smarter, younger, and irresistible sexy. Consume in regularly moderated amounts. Consult a doctor for any resulting brain bleed.
All right, guys. Welcome.